Well, hello and welcome to another episode of our Chromebook Classroom. Today, I am lucky enough to be joined by the new kid on the block. We've got a brand new member of our Learning Services team. We are here with the one and only Stephanie Winters. How are you doing, Stephanie?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
And so do you want to take a minute just to tell us about yourself?
Sure, yes. So I am the French Immersion 7 to 12 and FSL 4 to 12 consultant. I am covering for Amy, who is at home with her new little baby.
Your cute little baby.
Yes. So I will be here until the end of June.
I love it. But you're a go-getter. You're that kind of teacher. That's how our ECSD teachers roll. And you are here today to help us really look at student engagement in French language arts. I'm really excited because you actually have some amazing tools you're going to be showing us. But I love that your focus has been on student engagement. It's not that. Why is that so important to just focusing on like the aspects of language acquisition? What are we going to jump into?
Well, I think especially in the secondary classroom, which is kind of where this focus will be, it's really important to get students communicating in their target language. And that can be difficult because they may not feel confident, or they may not want others to judge them if they make a mistake. And that we see a lot in second language programs and even in our ELL students. So anything that I'm going through today does come from the lens of a second language program, but can also apply to our ELL students. And so the tool that I will be sharing today really helps with that and get students interacting in real time with your lessons.
I love that statement because that's really what we're trying to do, is that universal design for learning. What you're showing us today that is so awesome for FLA is great for ELL. But these are strategies of engagement that all of our learners can benefit from, regardless of that topic in class.
Absolutely. And you'll see some of the examples I give are for social studies as well, because again, it's not just about FLA necessarily. Right. It's more just that engagement in class using their target language.
Oh, well, I am super excited to dig into this. And you're using a tool that I think is so amazing because it just pairs so well.
Nice.
You're going to take us through a little bit of that free version, that free add-on of Pear Deck to Google Slides.
Yes. So just really quickly, what our intentions are and objectives are for today. So learning how to incorporate the technology into your lessons to support student learning, and then how to use the tool specifically, Pear Deck, that we'll be going through today. So I hope that I can do this in a way that's user-friendly. And I mean, the nice thing about most Google extensions is that they're very easy to use and to incorporate into your already existing materials. So why Pear Deck? I started using Pear Deck right before the pandemic hit, actually. And it was a way to get my students interacting when I was going through a Google Slides in class. So it offers opportunities for that quick real-time formative assessments. Students are able to answer questions or answer a poll, and you see right away kind of where they're at with their learning and their understanding. It gives them something to do while you're teaching and while you're going through this a lesson. And so that's another way to get them engaged rather than just sitting there and trying to take it all in. It gets them to do something with that information. It also is a really good opportunity for students to self-assess. One thing I like is that you are able to show what the students' responses are on the smartboard in real time. And I think that's really important. Students are able to kind of see where other students are at in the class and where they're at, and gauge that way on their understanding of the material. And then it also supports students online and in person. So I had started using this tool kind of right before the pandemic. And then once we went online and we're flip-flopping back and forth, it became super important for me because it offered that ability to kind of check in on students when they aren't in the room with you. I also like to use it if I have a substitute teacher in the class, and there are different ways you can set it up so that students go through it individually, which we'll look at in a little bit. And then you can go back and kind of see what they've done.
I love that. And so that, I think that's kind of been the gift, if we think about some of the things that out of the pandemic, is these digital tools out of necessity have become tools of engagement and creativity we can continue to use in class.
Yeah.
And so I love that idea of having students being creators and not just consumers of information, even in our own classrooms, even for that face-to-face learning. We often think of students consuming information because it's on a screen, but they are consuming information when it's us just doing direct instruction. So how can we help them stay engaged? Now, a couple of technical points here. We are using the Pear Deck add-on for Google Slides, but we are just only using the free version. Let's talk about the difference between that free version and paid account.
Yes. So just super quickly, the free version offers certain tools that the paid one doesn't. But from my understanding, the paid one shares student data and information with the third-party site. So that is not in our...
That's right. That's right. We have to do is we have to make sure we're using student servers here inside of Canada. And so with the free version, it follows those guidelines. With the paid version, it doesn't. But I got to say, I'm a Northside girl. I like keeping things frugal for our teachers and our schools. I love the free version of Pear Deck. I think that it has the functionality we need.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never, before I knew about the policy, I never used the paid version. And it still is very useful, very functional. There's a lot of features in there that the paid one has a few extras, but it does not take away from the functionality of the add-on. So
okay, I love it. Let's dig in. Let's see what this looks like.
So I'm going to show just really quick how to install the add-on. It is a Chrome extension. So it's really easy to add on if you're already in Chrome. And you just have to either open a Google slide that you already have made, and you go to add-ons and then manage add-ons, and that's where you can search Pear Deck. Obviously it's here for me because I already have it installed, but you'll search it and then click on it and install. Now, once you install, it will ask you the first time you use it to set up your account through Google. And that's just, it takes a few minutes. You have to accept the parameters of the app, and then you should be good to roll with it. Another way is to go to peardeck.com, and I'll just sign out really quick to show you how easy you can. So you go log in with Google. And again, it will take you through those steps to accept. You always say not right now for the free or the paid. And then you're ready to go. And you'll see these files just come directly from my Google Drive that it has now linked to. I don't have to create anything new. And that, I feel, is huge. It's just something that is already embedded into your Google Slides, and you can add on to what you've already created.
That's a great teacher time saver.
Yes, absolutely. You can select it through here, or just from your own Google Drive, you can open I'm just going to get to a new one just to show you kind of what it will look like the first time you use it. So this is a blank Google Slides, and in order to get Pear Deck, you just go to your add-ons. Now that you've installed it, it should show up in the drop-down menu, and then you open the Pear Deck add-on. And then on the right-hand side, there'll be a sidebar here. And so now it is as simple as just selecting the type of interactive slide you would like to put into your Google Slides. So you can do text, and you click on it, and it will say adding interactive question here, and then that's it. So it doesn't really look like much from your end, and I'll show kind of later when I've got my example what it looks like from the student side. But essentially, when you see this kind of toolbar or bar at the bottom, I guess. It's not really, it's just an image. This indicates that it is now an interactive slide.
Okay.
And, yeah, so the options in the free version are text. So that's where students can type a message or a response, a paragraph. It could be just a word, however you want. Also a choice. So if you wanted to select that could be a multiple choice type of a question. It could be a poll. You can add as many options as you want. And I'll just kind of show an example here. We'll do 3. If I want 4 options, then you update slide, and then it embeds it right into your slide. And students will see those options and they can select their answer. There's also a numeric response you could add, or a website. And now the website, depending on the type of site you share, they will see the actual site in a smaller window, or it could just be a link. It depends. If it's not a secured site, it'll just be a link to the external site, or it could be right there, and then they would see the slide and that site. And I'll show an example of that. But it really is as easy as that to start using it and installing it.
Isn't that so crazy? So right here, I'm not leaving Google Slides. I've got this menu beside me, and I'm just taking the content that's already on my slide. I probably already have that question. I already have that thing built on the slide. I'm just making it allow to be interactive so that our students can connect and respond.
Exactly.
But like you said, we can see those responses in real time.
Yeah. And, we've all been in that situation where we're, really getting into our lesson. We ask a question and it's crickets. And there's nothing, right? This gives students the opportunity to reflect, to write down that response first, and then it really prompts an opportunity for a discussion in your class, because you can show the students' responses on the screen and say, oh, this is a really interesting answer, and get them talking about that. And then they see the responses that other students have given, and that gets them thinking. And what I do like about it is it doesn't show the name of the student when you are displaying that for the class. So then they're anonymous, and that takes away a little bit that kind of the pressure and, the worry that they'll be judged that their answer is wrong and that kind of thing. So
now I know we said this is the Chromebook classroom, but it is worth noting that for student responses, this also will work if they have mobile phones, right? They can respond in on any browser-based device. They'll be able to participate in this.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's how you get started. So what I would like to show now is just maybe we'll get you to log in to the example that I have.
Nothing like on the spot live demos. Yes. I'm ready. I can do this. So I'm going to be entering your code.
Okay. Yes. And just really quick before then, I'll show just on this one how you start a lesson, because I've already done that for the example. But once your slide is ready, you just click Start Lesson, and then you select student paced activity or instructor paced. So instructor paced is when you're in front of the class teaching and you're doing it as a whole group instruction type of activity. Student paced is really good. Like I said, I like to use this tool if I'm away from the classroom and I have a sub in. It gives the students a link to the presentation, and then they go through the slides at their own pace.
Awesome.
So those are the two choices. So if you click instructor paced, then a code will pop up, and I'll just switch back to this one because this is the one we'll be using. Students go to joinpd.com and they put in this code, and then you'll see it says waiting for students. You'll see how many students have connected, and once they all have connected, then you can start your lesson.
Can I just say I'm loving the juicy muffins neatly turned on while this is
there are entire forums of the Pear Deck code phrases. Sometimes they are quite hilarious.
I love it. So I'm just going to switch to the student's screen here just for a second. So I just logged in. I typed in the code. Hey, how I'm feeling today? I'm really happy. It's loading for the presentation. And right away, this is what I'm seeing. And I can't I can't click on anything. I can't get anywhere. This is instructor led, but I'm just waiting for you to be able to start interacting with me. I love it.
Yeah, it's really great. What I like a lot about that is that students aren't going ahead or, you know, kind of getting distracted and not fully engaged in kind of what point of the lesson you're in. I've noticed when I share my slides in other ways, I'll be walking around the class talking and I see that a student is like 3 slides ahead or 2 slides behind. Like, even though it's posted on the screen, they're not always kind of following. So this forces them to kind of go at the pace that you are directing. So now that my one student is connected, I can start the class. And the other nice thing is we all know Wi-Fi can cause us headaches and students will get booted out.
Okay.
Throughout the presentation, the join code is always in the top right-hand corner. And so they can re-log in and it will just kind of put them right back where you're at. And then the other thing is each presentation or each lesson that you start creates its own code. And then when you end that session and you want to reuse the same Google Slides and you start a new lesson, it will be a different code. And so if you have multiple classes of the same course, then it will give you unique codes for each one of those classes. So here we are. This is the first slide. I am controlling the pace again. And I'm not sure if Trish, you want to show your screen for this one because it is a response.
Absolutely. And so look at the difference. So this was your teacher screen. Yeah. You started the lesson. You've got the thing. You could even have this as part of your large screen display in your classroom.
Yes.
On my student device, it looks like this.
Exactly. So what I would typically do is I would have this posted on my smart board. And this one I have as a written response. So we watch the video together. And then I have students respond to the question, the prompt that I've given.
So I don't have your beautiful French language, so I'm going to type in English. And so this is my answer. As soon as I, want to be able to add that response, I can add another one. I can just hit that.
Exactly. I can have more than And the responses are automatic. So students, just as soon as they start typing, I start to see what they're responding. And then at the bottom of your screen, you have a toolbar here and it says show responses. So then I can click on that and it shows the students' responses. And there's 2 options for viewing them. You could have them in a line, kind of like a stream, or in a grid layout. I like to do the grid layout.
Yeah, this is great. It protects that student identity. If I keep answering, will it update more answers?
Yeah. So then now you've got a second one and that automatically appears on my screen.
I love this. This is real time and we're not sitting on great internet here. So this is awesome to be able to see that happen.
Exactly. And like I said, it gives students that time to reflect and then communicate in their target language. And because these are language learners, they need that. And they need that ability to kind of, it's not going to be automatic like it would be in your first language. So then you, again, can easily just go back and forth from the presentation screen to the responses. And then that's how that works with the written response. Then I can continue, and I believe this one is also a written response.
Yeah, it looks like it on my side. Yeah.
Again, you would go through the lesson, have that guiding question, and then allow students the opportunity to think, respond, and then it really elicits good discussion in class, and they can kind of see what their peers have responded. This is an example of a website that I have added. So if on my end, it just shows the screen, but then the students should be able to see either the link to this website or the presentation screen and the full website. It just depends.
Yeah, it depends. This one's having a little bit of trouble connecting. What's great about it is even though it doesn't want to connect right here, that link is here and it did open it up for me. So
there you are. Yeah.
be able to see that. So it is nice that the students can be given those additional resources and be able to see that. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it really depends just on the type of link that you have. If it's not a secured link, then it won't show in the window, but it will be there and they can easily open that in a secondary tab.
Love it.
Oh,
look at this. I got to show you. You took me to a
yes.
Padlet. Look at this. This is embedded right on
embedded.
it.
Yeah. And so this I love because again, it's another way for the students to respond and see their responses. But the difference between the Padlet and just having them respond in the Pear Deck is that they have access to the Padlet and they can see everyone's. And of course, this one, there's a little less anonymity because their names are on it. It doesn't have to be. It just depends how you've set up your Padlet. But then they can refer back to this. Padlet, right? Because if you don't know what Padlet is, it's another website that you can create kind of forum boards, discussion boards, like there's a lot of different functionalities of it, but it embeds right into Pear Deck.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's
Love
super cool. Yeah. And then I'm not sure. I think this one was another.
This one is another written response.
Yeah. So yeah, those are basically, this one is a Google document that you can embed right in. So at the end,
a comparison chart, an actual live comparison chart that I can actually work on right here.
Yeah. So they can kind of, once you've done your lesson and you want them to then go and do something with that, you can embed a Google document into it.
Amazing. And we're still using free, easy tools we're using every day. We're just combining them in a way that's beyond just an answer on a line.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. And I feel like it gives them a little bit more sense of ownership of what they're doing in class. Sometimes when you just get them to respond on a piece of paper and then, what do I do with this? Or what was the point of that? But if there's somewhere for them to respond and it's in combination with other students' responses, or it's a collaborative Google document, then their sense of ownership for their work is there and it goes up.
Yes. Love that. And so you've created these beautiful examples. You have other examples that you've put together for us. You actually have a bunch that you're going to so generously have included below this video. You'll be able to get all of Stephanie's different things, but you have some other stuff for us.
Yes. So I have just some other examples for how I've used this tool. The example that I gave you, if you don't speak French, is for a social studies class on refugees. But I've also used it in FLA when we've done some music analysis, and I've also used it in our slam poetry example. So I will share all of these so you can kind of get an idea of how it can be used. Again, these are all slides that I had already created and I just added to them. And it was very easy and it didn't change anything about the way that I delivered my lesson, except I was able to get more student engagement. And I think that's kind of the big key here is how can we get students engaged in their learning? And a direct effect of it is that you get them talking more because, a lot of these responses might be written, but once they've had that opportunity to reflect, then they'll have a little bit more confidence to maybe share their answers or build on the answer of another student. And then they are talking a lot more in their target language.
That is fantastic. I can't thank you enough for being here today. Like I said, you're new to this role. It's short time in here, but what I love is you're coming out of the classroom you've been using the tools for years now. And so this is authentic use of this in a classroom. You know that this works, and I love that you are sharing it. So thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing all of these examples. I was getting very excited seeing the student side of things. But if you have any questions about how to use this, any other FLA resources, please feel free to reach out to Stephanie, her entire team. I know their SharePoint site is just chocked full of things to be able to support our teachers and our students. And of course, for any technical support, feel free to reach out to the MTech team. But thank you, Stephanie, for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes.
And we'll see everyone in the next episode.
Bye.